Greetings, one and all. Welcome to episode 117 of Talk Wrestling. Congratulations to all of you who have helped us reach our goal of 13,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Happy Memorial Day to all of you out there in the United States. If you're watching across the world, then happy Memorial Day to you too if you're an American citizen and just happen to be abroad. The next goal, Aaron, what do you say? 14,000 by SummerSlam? Yeah. Let's do that. SummerSlam is in August at some point. I don't know the exact date. Couldn't tell you because I don't really follow the pay-per-view schedule that closely. But SummerSlam is coming in August. Let's try to reach 14,000 in the next 2 months. Let's do that. Again, happy Memorial Day. Thank you all for watching the last couple weeks as we've done news and mailbag and whatnot. We'll be back to the news, I think, next week. Don't quote me on that. But let's get your mailbag questions for right now. Alright, this is from somebody that's asked me to leave their name out of the email, so I will, out of respect. After all that has gone down between Hulk Hogan and WWE, do you ever think he'll return to Vince McMahon's company? You know, 2 years ago, I made the mistake of saying never when it came to wrestling. I found myself on this very show, I believe, could be wrong, saying that we'd never see Ric Flair wrestle again. He was going to stick to his retirement. He was going to stay away and live his life and just be content with the way he was given his send-off. Since that time, he's wrestled more than once, and I've been proven wrong. So, I'm not going to sit here and say Hulk will never return to WWE because you can never say never in this business anymore. Is it likely? No. I think there's been too much BS flung from both sides. But, you gotta remember, he left the WWF in '93, joined WCW in '94, and flung BS at Vince for 6 years. 7 years, whatever it was. And then came back and got a huge comeback story and won the championship and brought back the red and yellow and, you know, was there for, you know, whatever it was, 4 years. So, I'm not saying never ever again in this business because I've been proven wrong way too many goddamn times. So, will we see him back? It's unlikely, but not impossible. How about that? This one comes from Carl Blakesley. After watching Talk Wrestling 111 and agreeing with what you said about John Morrison's WWE status, I was just wondering what are your thoughts on CM Punk's status. Personally, I think he's being misused. Any wrestling fan can tell you Punk is one of the most talented superstars in WWE, yet he seems to never win a match on TV or pay-per-view since he lost the championship at Hell in a Cell last year. It seems like he comes out every week claiming straight edge makes you better, only to lose to whomever he comes up against. To me, it just seems like he's made to look worse or weak every week. I'm just thinking they should make him into the monster heel in the WWE, much like JBL was in WWE in 2004-2005 and Jeff Jarrett was in TNA. Do you agree? I think Punk's being used just fine. You know, he's arguably the top heel on SmackDown. I mean, you've got Swagger who's there, and you've got, you know, a couple other guys that are there. But arguably, Punk has the most captivating storyline. He's been feuding with Ray, and that's going on. And I don't think that he's being misused at all. He's got followers. He's got people that are with him. And I think they're pushing him to the moon. I think he's being used just fine. I don't see a problem with the way they're using CM Punk at all. They're using him to his full potential, which is nice. Which is always cool. I don't see a problem with it at all. I think that he's doing just fine. Brennan Smith says, who are your top 5 WWF, WWE superstars to have never won the World Championship? Alright. Now, I'm assuming they mean the WWF or WWE versions of the World Championship. So I'm going to go with Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith. That's 4. And I'll go with Davey's partner, Dynamite Kid. Those are my 5. What are your 5? Send me some feedback. Let me know. What's your top 5? That never held the WWE or World Heavyweight WWE Championships. That have worked for WWF and WWE. How about that? Because they're, AJ Styles. Yeah. Who has worked for WWF or WWE over the years that had never held the championship that are your top 5? If that makes any sense what I just said. Sorry if it doesn't. Sleep deprived. This is from Joe Harden. What is your view on Goldberg possibly returning to WWE? He's been in talks with them over the last few months, but a contract is yet to be confirmed. Do you think him returning will make WWE watchable again, or will he continue to see WWE fall down the steady slope to failure? One man a company does not make. Not anymore. In the early 80s, Hulk Hogan made the WWF what it was. No question. And in the mid-90s, Hulk Hogan made WCW what it was. No question. However, I think that has changed. One man a company cannot build upon. Yes, John Cena is still the guy in WWE, but they're building Orton and Swagger and Hunter still and Sheamus and Big Show and this guy and that guy. They're building around a whole group of people. Goldberg coming back is not going to, increase the decline or decrease the incline, as it were. And I don't think Goldberg is that big of an impact player at this point in his career. He's been gone for 6 years. His biggest time in the business was 12 years ago when he was WCW World Champion. He's 12 years past his prime. If they were to bring him back, they'd be pulling to TNA. Because TNA's bringing back all these guys that were hot 15, 20 years ago. It'd be a mistake on WWE's part to bring him back in a wrestling role. They want to make a figure of him. They want to put him in the Hall of Fame. They want to do other things with him. That's cool. Don't put him in the ring. Bad idea. Bad idea. This one is from Matt Dunn. Has The Undertaker always been portrayed by the same man? Basically, that's what he said. I kind of paraphrased his question. Yes, Mark Calloway has always been The Undertaker. There were rumors when he came back in ~94 after losing the casket match to Yokozuna and then coming back and facing The Undertaker that he was not the same guy. He's always been The Undertaker. Mark Calloway's always been The Undertaker. And yes, he wore that Phantom of the Opera type mask when he got his orbital bone crushed by Vin King Mabel. Now we know him as Big Daddy V. It's always been the same guy. There's never been a different portrayal. Much like Kane has always been Glenn Jacobs. I've heard rumors about that too, but no, they've always both been the same guy. Glenn and Mark have always played Kane and The Undertaker. This is from Kyle Sislak. Here's a hypothetical question for you. What if, in the possibly near future, Dixie Carter just gets tired of the pro wrestling drama and puts TNA up for sale? Who would you want to see buy the company, and what would you want to see done with it? Personally, I think it'd be a good idea for WWE to buy TNA, and here's why. WWE could do a TNA versus FCW field since both companies are in Florida anyway. They could use the TV deal that TNA has and just change it to FCW, or whatever they call the new company, after the feud has ended. They could also have Impact on Monday and an FCW show on the Thursday night time slot while the feud is going on. After the feud is done, the winning company would operate as an independent promotion and not just be another WWE brand. This would give the opportunity for the FCW talent to get on national TV, plus WWE would have a place for the new talent that they signed from other promotions instead of a developmental limbo. I'm not sure I picked this question on purpose. I think I just kind of grabbed it. But I'll answer it. Kyle, if TNA were to go out of business, it would be a huge mistake for WWE to buy them. And I'll tell you why. When the sale first happened in 2001 of WWF buying WCW, we all, basically wet our pants at the idea of WWF versus WCW matches. Look what happened there. Most of the guys that make TNA what they are now are huge contracts that WWE cannot afford. And they'd be doing the same thing that the Invasion did in 2001. It'd be a cluster. I would advise against that completely. So, as far as other buyers, were the Carters to sell TNA? Hell, I'll buy it. I'll run the company. I'll get rid of everybody that needs to be get rid of. But seriously, I don't know. Maybe Ring of Honor. Maybe Ring of Honor could purchase it. Hard to say. I don't think it should be purchased, to be honest with you. I think it should just be let to cease to exist, and then pick up the talent and put them where they may, with whatever company they end up going with. This is kind of an interesting one from Tam Crook. I was just wondering if you could explain to me the PWI 500 ranking system. For example, Triple H was named number 1 for 2009, but that ranking came out at the start of 2009. But this ranking didn't seem to come out at the same time as the other awards, such as Match of the Year. So what time period is it actually based upon? Triple H couldn't have realistically won Wrestler of the Year for 2009 because he didn't get up too much. Randy Orton similarly won 2008, but was out injured for most of the year. Could you, by any chance, explain for what time period this is based upon? Okay. To my knowledge, the year-end awards encapsulate January through December. The PWI 500 encapsulates August through July. So if you're number 1 in PWI 500 for 2009, that means you were the best wrestler in the world between August 08 and July 09. That's how it was when I was growing up reading PWI. I don't know if they've changed that since then, but I'm pretty sure they have, because that's when they have not, because I'm pretty sure that's when they published the PWI 500 is still around that time period. So, August 08 to July 09, Triple H was WWE Champion a good portion of that period. So that's why he got the top spot. Same with 08. Randy Orton was WWE Champion for a good portion of 07, 08. Triple H won Wrestler of the Year for 2009 for the first time, from what I remember. And 2009, he was there for most of the year, I think. This year, he probably won't get much of anything. He's been gone for a while. But he should. He should have been when he won it. There you go. Hope I was helpful, Tim. This is from Peter O'Hara. My question is, in the last 10 years, what do you think was the best booking decision WWE has made, and what do you think was the worst? Alright, so 10 years. That goes back to 2000. The best booking they've done in the last 10 years was the elevation of Triple H. Tied with the return of Shawn Michaels. Okay. Worst booking they've done in the last 10 years was the Invasion storyline. That's still one of the most horrible things I've ever seen. And people say, well, what about Katie Vick? That was one situation. The Invasion was 8 months of cluster booking. Okay? That was just god-awful. Hideous. Worst thing I've ever seen. Worst thing I've ever seen. Let's see. Can't read this name. Not even going to bother trying. What are your thoughts on Jim Ross no longer being a part of the WWE and possibly being done with play-by-play commentary? Personally, I think it was a mistake for WWE to let his contract expire and let him go. He not only has a voice that many of us associate with our favorite matches, but he also has a great mind for the business. If I were TNA, I would fire some of the dead weight hanging around the office and bring in Jim Ross to run things. I'd also love to see him do commentary for football or mixed martial arts. JR has said many times in his blog, and people have been talking about this for months, amidst all the speculation and all the rumors that have been going around the internet, that JR said, you know what, WWE no longer wants to use me as a commentator, and I'm okay with that. Do I want to be a commentator? Yes. Am I going to pitch a fit if I'm not? No. JR is more professional than that. And he's still doing work for WWE outside of play-by-play. He's still doing some talent relations stuff for them. He's still doing some talent scouting and things like that for them. He did that for years, besides doing play-by-play, and he loves it. Would he be a good fit in TNA? He'd be better than Mike Tenay. I love Mike today. He was on our show back in the day. But anything's better than what they got now. And Taz has become a joke. He used to be my favorite color commentator. Now it's Matt Stryker. Taz has just let himself become a caricature, much like Jerry the King Lawler. JR would be a great guy to run the office in TNA and, you know, kind of exorcise the demon that is Vince Russo and kind of get TNA back on track. But you also got to remember, Jim Ross's best time in the business was the mid-90s. Can we go back to that in this day and age? Of course not. Would he be the proper person to do the office, run the office in this day and age? Hard to say. This is from Ethan King. Not sure about this one, but I'll try to remember. I heard you say that you think Bryan Danielson or Rob Van Dam are the best workers you've ever seen. Do you think that they're better than Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair? Me personally, I think Shawn Michaels is the best. Okay, I don't recall ever saying that Bryan or Rob is the best workers ever. They are two of the best, but they're not the best ever. Michaels and Flair are definitely the top two workers ever. Shawn is right up there. Shawn's always been great. Flair has let his legacy been tarnished somewhat in the last few years with his wrestling ability. Will Rob and Bryan surpass them? No. No way. Can they be as good as Bryan? Excuse me. Can Rob and Bryan be as good as Flair or Shawn? No. Nobody can touch Shawn Michaels. Nobody. He's exactly what he said he was for 10 years. Main event, showstopper, the icon, the man that can still go, the headliner, and he backed it up. Flair, same thing. He backed it up for the better part of 30 years. Can they be great, Rob and Bryan? Yes. They are great. Rob's being shackled by poor booking right now. Yes, he's a world champion, but what does that mean in TNA? What does that mean? And Bryan has all the potential in the world still. He's only 10 years in. He still has potential. Alright, that's going to do it for Talk Wrestling this week. Again, thank you all so much for making us reach our goal, helping us reach our goal of 13,000 by June 1st. Happy Memorial Day to one and all. And remember, 14,000 by SummerSlam. Tell your friends, tell your family. The new goal is set. 14,000 by the August WWE pay-per-view. We'll see you next time.